Hello and welcome to bauma 2013. I am joined here today with Caterpillar Group President Ed Rapp. Ed, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
You just arrived yesterday, and what were your first impressions when you walked into the show here at bauma?
I'd say two impressions. First of all, it just highlights the depth and breadth of the Caterpillar product line, be it the display here or our engine display. It's really one of the true strengths of Caterpillar. But the other thing it really highlights is the fact that there's a whole lot of competition out there who wants our position. And so great in terms of our presence here, our product line, but it highlights each and every day we've got to do a better job of taking care of our customers because there's a whole lot of people who want those customers.
You have responsibility now for construction industries, and this is primarily a construction show. So what are we seeing right now in construction around the world, and in particular here in Europe?
Yeah, I think in terms of around the world, I think the thing that's changed, my first bauma was 1992. And I think the thing that this show really does highlight is how this industry has evolved. You go back to 1992, we were primarily looking at developed world competitors. Today we're looking at global competitors. You go back to 1992, it was primarily individual machine technology. One of the things you're seeing more and more, us and competitors, is how do you weave those fleets of machines together, through technology. So I think the competitive footprint, in that period of time has just gotten more and more extreme, which just means we have to raise our game. And I think this show highlights the fact we're meeting that challenge. Individual products we're introducing, the connected worksite technologies we're bringing to bear, and in doing it in partnership with our distribution organization. With Zeppelin here at the show, I think it's very transparent to our customers that it's really one team looking to solve their problems.
You've mentioned technology just now a couple of times. That is a huge theme at this show. What most excites you about our technology solutions?
Well, I think there's two things that excite me. One is on the product side, the EH in terms of the 336. And I think what's really good, if you go walk the show, I've just done the competitive booths this morning, the simplicity of the solution, the mainstream approach that we've taken using components that have been in our products before, I think gives us a real leg up. The XE on the 966 is another classic example. And I think what it highlights is the fact our vertical integration and the ability to integrate across systems is a true competitive advantage. If I go back 5 or 6 years ago, people would have said we were going to come with Tier 4 or Stage 3B technology and give customers better fuel economy, people would have said no way. And I think it's that systems integration that's allowed us to do it. The other part of the technology that's really exciting though is what we're bringing together on the connected worksite. And I think how do you bring higher levels of productivity to customers by doing a better job of managing assets across the fleet? I think that's the next breakthrough for us.
You spent some time here in Europe in the 90s. You've kind of already hinted at it, your first bauma 1992.
Yeah.
What differences are you seeing in this region then and now?
I think one of the key differences, if you go back in history, Europe was really a platform that not only served Europe, but also served Africa and Middle East. And I think one of the significant changes that have come about, especially through things like emissions regulation, is kind of the bifurcation of our product line. And I think one of the things that we've got to accept is our European footprint is really going to be Europe for Europe. And I think what it's led to is some of the things we've announced in terms of European competitiveness. How do we fight to remain competitive, manufacturing product, designing product for Europe? And that's some of the restructuring we're going through just to make sure we can maintain that competitiveness.
You recently relocated to Singapore. Do you see the balance of power shifting to Asia?
I'm not sure if I would call it the balance of power. I think it's the balance of opportunity. And if you just look at urbanization, if you look at build out of infrastructure, there's no doubt that there's just tremendous opportunities in Asia. I think the other thing that has absolutely evolved, and I go back to my first bauma versus this bauma, is the presence of the Chinese manufacturers. And I think being in Singapore, being in the middle of that is absolutely critical. The thing for us as a company, though, I think, is our approach, is the best way, I think, to compete with Chinese coming out of China is to compete with them in China. And that's why our strategy to win in China is so critical. And I think we've got, a lot of people talk about the presence of the Chinese at a show like this. the thing I always like to articulate, there is a company that we're really keeping a close eye on, China. They've got the broadest product line of engines and machines. They're building out a distribution organization that's world class. They've got a really good supply base and partnership with their suppliers. They're building out a really good manufacturing capability. They've introduced logistics as well as finance. And when people say, well, what competitor is that? And I would tell them that's Caterpillar. And so I think the best way to compete and win as everybody tries to come out of Asia is to be in the middle of it in Asia, and I think our strategy gets us there.
And finally, Ed, you attend dozens of these kind of customer shows, these trade shows. What do you hope to accomplish out of each one?
When I come to a trade show like this, one of my great disappointments is the fact that more people at Caterpillar can't experience it. I mean, I think about the engineers, the manufacturing, the logistics people, all the way our accountants, everybody else who really puts in the extra effort to make Caterpillar what it is today. And if you can't walk around this show and get your blood pumping, I mean, you're in the wrong industry. And I wish, and hopefully through technology, we can bring more of the show to them. Bauma is unique in that it is a selling show, so a big part of this is one of the hopes is that we hit the targets. The third is I always look at it as an opportunity to build on relationships with suppliers, Caterpillar employees, dealers, as well as customers. I consider this more like going to a class reunion than I do, coming to a trade show. There's just so many deep relationships that you build over a career, and it's always nice to rekindle those relationships.
And on that note, we'll let you get back to the show. Thanks for joining us, Ed.
It's always great to see you.
And that does it for us here at Bauma 2013.